Hey creators! For today's video we're going to be styling a Deku wig from TawnyBow.com. Make sure to like and subscribe. I try to post content every Tuesday and Friday, and if you're interested in any more wig content, please let me know any styles or characters you're interested in down below, and let's go get creating. Okay guys, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start sectioning off the wig, just so that you don't pull hair from other areas that you don't need to be working on at that point. I'm going to be sectioning with these small butterfly clips that I got from the Dollar Tree. This is my favorite brush. It is the Diane 8121. It has a rat tail at one end, and then it has wire teeth. You always want to make sure you have wire teeth because the plastic teeth will cause static, which causes tangling. Not really an issue with a shorter wig like this one, but with a longer wig, definitely becomes a problem. I want to work on the back first, so I'm just making a part right across the middle of the hairline. Or not the hairline. I'm making a part right across the crown of the head so that I can work on the back and not have to worry about the front. Okay, so when it comes to spikes, you want your hair to be as thick as possible. So we're gonna do some back combing before we start actually doing the individual spikes. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start sectioning the layers of the wig from the top to the bottom and work on the sections on the bottom first. Trying to section like this, I would just go by the weft line, and then you don't have to worry about any waving lines. So I know it's a little bit hard to see because the wig fibers are black and the clips are black, but I did two sections. I did one for the top crown area, and then I did a smaller one for the back, just so that we can get these under fibers. To backcomb the hair, I use a thin tooth comb. Now, I know that I said plastic is a big no-no, but you can use it when you're trying to get a little bit more volume, but I wouldn't use it any other time. So just take small sections between your forefinger and your thumb and just comb back. I know that personally I'm a little OCD, so when you're backcombing, there goes one of my clips. When you're backcombing, just kind of give yourself a little leeway. It's gonna feel a little clumpy, like you have a snarl, but it's not snarl, and it'll all work out in the end. So when you feel like you're ready to start making the spikes, for this specific wig, it's a spiked wig, but it's like a tousled spiked wig, so I'm not too concerned about the exact placement, at least in the back of the wig. I'm probably going to get a little bit more particular on the crown, but where it is now, I just want to piece out the spikes and just place them around the head. So my favorite thing for spiking a wig is got to be, so the yellow bottle is my favorite. There is a black bottle that's got to be glued. That one is glued extreme. They say it's supposed to be more, the black one is supposed to be even better in hold, but I don't think so. I always like the yellow one. And so what you're going to need to do spikes is you're going to need that. You're going to need water. I literally just got this at the dollar store in the housewares section. Just any water bottle. This is the one I tend to use. I also have the Got to Be Glued freeze spray. Once again, this comes in the black bottle as well. I just prefer the yellow one. It does say that it has a new and improved formula. I never had an issue with the other formula, and they hold really well. And you're also going to want a blow dryer. So I take a little bit in my hands, just in my fingertips. And then I take my sections and I just piece them out. So So after I get the point almost to where I want it, then I spray the section down. So then I hit it with the spray and I rub it with my fingers. So if you feel like it's starting to be not quite as, it's not holding quite as much as you'd like it, that's where the water bottle comes in. You literally spray your fingers. Just spray your fingers and it activates the hair glue again, which you can kind of see my fingers. My fingers are like sparkly. And if you're really happy with where it is, that's where you get your blow dryer. I always put my blow dryer on medium. Now when it comes to the very bottom spikes, I try not to put too much gel on this top area that's going to be touching your head, because the got2b is really great, but it does make almost a cement hold. So it's not the most comfortable, especially around your hairline. So I try to give it a little bit of breathing room around the top. I also like to keep baby wipes. I do have a 2-year-old, so I tend to have them anyway, but I feel like they're the best for making your fingers not super sticky the entire time that you're doing this. You pull the hair down like this to get the spikes. This wig is going to be too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pair of shears. These are my shears that I use. I got them at Sally's. I want to say they were $10. I never really got a super fancy pair, and to be honest, I got it because I liked the print on the handle. But just make sure that you don't cut anything other than hair or wig fibers with them, because you don't want them to be dull. And so when you have your spike, for example this one, if you cut it at an angle, then it's pretty much still set. I just want to cut a little bit off. Now that you got the spikes in the bottom the way that you want them, I always just give it a couple minutes to seal itself and dry, and then I let the next section down and do the same thing, starting with the backcombing. But now we're going to give it a couple minutes. So when it comes to this layer, I don't ever start on the sides, because when you look at your face, these are going to be an important piece for the overall look. So these ones I wait until I start on the front, which I start doing after this section. So what I'm going to do is in the sections, after I've backcombed them enough to have some thicker spikes, is I'm going to start in between the spikes that are back there so that there's lots of texture between the two. So one of the things you need to be careful with when you're using the got2b is that you need to make sure it's nice and mixed inside the container, or you're gonna get a strange consistency. So now I want to start to plan out what the front of the hair is gonna look like. So for Deku's hair, which is kind of what I'm trying to do, like a Deku inspired style. He has some choppy spikes, but then he has some in the crown of his hair coming straight up, and then he has it pieced out in the front. So I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to tease some of the top so that I can get the spikes and then work down. So when you get to the top layer of things, what you need to be careful of is that the styrofoam head, for the most part, is significantly smaller than the head that's going to be wearing the wig. So you need to make sure that you're not showing any wefting holes. Some people like to actually sew in some extra wefting, which I do in some of my more elaborate things. But for something that's just inspired by maybe a more everyday look for this character, I just try to tease it so that there's plenty of texture and volume. And you can already see that it's lifting a little more easy on its own. I also try to make sure that I keep some reference pictures of what I'm trying to do close at hand. I actually have several references on the floor. Sometimes what you also want to do, instead of pulling it all the way down, is if you're really trying to get some volume, keep your comb in there and just go back and forth. Just wiggle it. Be careful when you're backcombing that you don't get your spikes that are already done. If you don't like the direction that your spikes are going in, just squirt them with water and then brush them out with your comb. The good thing about backcombing is that you can kind of see where you want your spikes to lay, and you'll kind of take that direction even without having any hairspray in there. Hi creators! So we're back on day 2 working on this wig, and after letting it completely dry, this is definitely way too long. So we're going to cut this and make it so that it's shorter. You do want to keep, if you're making a wig for yourself, you definitely want to keep testing the wig on your head, just because the wig head is smaller than your head, and although this looks super long, we're still going to make sure that it looks long because it's going to be shorter on your actual head. Look at the reference pictures. There's small spikes going around the hairline, which not only is going to be good just because that's what the reference looks like, but also because the spikes will hide your hairline when you're wearing this wig. And always remember when you're cutting your wig, with the exception of I did the blunt cut just to get all of that length off, you're always going to want to cut up like this in a vertical manner, just so that you don't have a weird blunt cut. You're also going to want to keep moving your T-pins so that it doesn't affect as you're styling. And here's the final product. Make sure to like and subscribe like I said before, and see you next time.